Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It's Tierra Lasha and we are back with another video. So today, I'm in office right now, but I wanted to give y'all a little bit of the story time while I'm creating these contracts. And this is a story that I have kind of been wanting to tell y'all, but after y'all kind of hear the story, y'all understand why I haven't like jumped on it. It's not something that happens on a day-to-day basis. It's not something that is your norm, is your usual. So this is a story time of how my client, my home health client, committed suicide while I was in the same house as him. And don't mind me, because right now I am adding a new employee into the system and creating a contract. So I will do my best to kind of like pay attention to y'all while I'm telling the story, but I'm the only person in the office right now. So I just feel like it was a good time for me to go ahead and just, let you guys know. So this was when I worked in Georgia, and I was in the city, actually. I want to say 20 minutes out from the city. The company I worked for was a home health agency, and they also, did like hourly staffing, whether it was a 24-hour client, if you needed somebody for an event to, help out your grandmother, help out your grandfather while you guys partied, or, it was stuff like that. So, for this specific shift, I was staffed for a 12-hour shift for him, a 7A to 7P. And this by far was probably the biggest house I've been in Georgia ever. He had two parts to his house. The first part was, kitchen area, some bedrooms, I want to say a sunroom in his living room. And then his garage on that side as well. The other half of the house, it was a huge great room, his downstairs area, a long hallway, bathrooms, etc., etc. Like, the house all across the boards was extravagant. Like, it was amazing. You can look at his house and be like, damn, y'all got money, literally. I worked with him a couple days before this incident happened at the shift. And while I was working with him, I just go based off of what the care plan, and then also while me paying attention to you. So me examining and seeing how you move, seeing how your mobility is, because the care plan might not be updated, but it's my job to make sure all the care you receive is based off of my knowledge of your care plan, but also whatever you're going through currently, just in case it's not current. And so from what I seen, his mobility was off. He was not able to stand by himself. Not able to use the bathroom by himself. He was able to eat, move his hands. And so, based off my knowledge, I'm helping him up. I'm holding his urinal. I'm doing stuff that, if he's not mobile, that I have to do for him, basically. And his family also had a primary caregiver, and they only called agency when she was off on her days. And she was an amazing caregiver. When she was off, she came in literally on the day that I was working and brought him, his groceries. She does his grocery, laundry, everything. And so she walked in while I was helping him, use the bathroom. And she looked and she was like, why do you have her helping you out? And, I looked up because, usually I go based off, like I said, visually. Like, if you're not able to do it, I have to help you out. And so he was like, he looked at her and said, I don't know. She pulled me to the side and she was like, he does this to new CNAs that he's never worked with before. So just be careful, but he is mobile. She also noted that he was a little racist. She endured some racist remarks from him. She's endured some racist things from him. And so she just let me know, like, ahead of time, like, hey, this happened. Just be aware that he's able to do X, Y, and Z. So he's not making you do extra. So I'm like, okay, thank you for letting me know. And then basically after that, he was standing up, he was walking himself to the bathroom. He was doing everything that I was doing for him, literally. And I was just so amazed because I'm like, it's not the first time it's happened, but it was just kind of like an eye-opener, like, okay, well, just be aware that you're in this type of situation. So the next time I worked, I was more aware that he, of his mobility needs, of all his needs, because I was there for 12 hours. Same way I started the shift for the last time. I got in, I started his breakfast. He was already up because knock shift gets him up, gets him in his chair. He was already up. I passed his fluids, gave him his medications, put his patch on his back, emptied his urinals, basically did everything that I was supposed to do that was in his care plan. And if you know me, I knock out all my cleaning or any chores or tasks I have to do prior to like mid-shift so that I'm able to chill. Why would you not want to chill in this shift? Before I say this, there are two different types of people in this world. There are people who will rather stay on their feet their whole shift to keep busy so they don't stay tired. And then there's the other people like me who would rather knock everything out beginning of the shift so that you can sit down. That's me. I will do laundry, I will do mopping, kitchen, bathroom, bedroom, everything AM so that I don't have to take care of it later. It's easier for me. Everybody has their own process, but that's how I do it. So I did that the same way in this shift. Now, I was sitting down right next to him and we were watching TV. He starts to get up and he's a fall risk. He has a walker, so every time he gets up, you get up just to, visually see him. He can walk by himself. You don't need to hold him or anything. He has it. But just making sure that he's not falling over. So he gets up and this is the living room. And then there's a glass door that goes to a long hallway to his great room. He gets up and he starts to walk towards that door. And so I follow, I get up and I keep a little bit of a distance away from him so that I'm not like right on him, but just in case if he does fall, I'm close enough to grab him. So I get the door for him. He gets out of the door, we're walking down the hallway to his great room. There were 2 steps that'll lead to like his great room. So after those 2 steps, it was the open space. He tried to put his walker down there. So I was like, did you want me to help you out? Just like based off my knowledge, I just asked him before I do anything because I don't want to upset him. I just want to make sure that he's okay with me doing anything for him because he's not a normal client I have. I've only worked with him once before, so this is my second time working with him. So he was like, yes, that's the plan. So I'm like, okay. I help assist him down the stairs, and he gets over and he starts walking towards a bookshelf. In this great room, there is like the stairs that go all the way down the stairs. And then there's a bookshelf and 2 like chairs where you can sit and read the books. There is like an open half wall that you can walk back, and there's a TV and some living room. In front of that space, right by, the bookshelf I just explained, there's a piano and some more open space. So once he sat down inside of those chairs by those bookshelves, I walked behind of that open wall to give him some privacy. I don't like to be in people's faces when I'm inside of their houses, if that makes sense, because it's your house. I don't want to make you feel like I'm hovering over you, and I sure as hell don't want to make you feel like it's not your house. Like you don't have comfortability in your house. So usually I just keep an eye out. I never leave them 100%, but I just keep an eye out. I listen, and I'm just there if they ever need me. I was behind the half wall. I was still able to see him. It sounded like he turned his chair. He had the strength to turn his chair towards the bookshelf. And, I'm thinking he's about to grab a book because he's in front of the bookshelf. And I came around, I seen him, he was looking through books. So I went back behind there. And so as I'm doing cleaning on the other side, I hear this loud pop. And he has an alarm in his house that if any loud sound or if he falls or if somebody breaks in, an alarm will sound so that the whole house will hear it, and then it sends an alert to his daughter's phone who lives out of the state. So in this instance, when I heard the loud sound, it was loud enough that I just... Okay, y'all, so this is a whole nother day. I ended up getting busy and having to finish some work here and leave out. So I wasn't able to finish the story then, so I'm going to finish the story now. So I was at the part where basically I heard the pop and I dropped everything and I ran to where he was. I was taught in my CNA class, you always assess the scene. If they fail, if they spilled something on them, anytime somebody's in danger, you assess the scene before you run exactly to the location. So I stood back a couple of feet and I was assessing the situation. And I recommend, if you're a queasy person or you just don't like stories like this, I would, you know how you double tap so that you can get 30 seconds ahead. I would do that so that you don't hear this part, because I'm kind of going to go into details of what happened. In 3, 2, 1. So when I first looked at him, I seen that his head was dropping down. I did heard the pop. I didn't know where the pop came from, but it sounded like a gunshot. And so I assumed that it was a gunshot, but I didn't see any weapons, so I couldn't say that it was exactly, you know, he shot himself. My first instinct, I called my agency and I got on the phone with them, and I'm like, hey, I think he just shot himself. And as I'm saying it, I hung up with the phone with them. As soon as I said it, I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm not supposed to be on the phone with y'all. I'm supposed to be on the phone with 911. So I called 911, and I'm like, he shot himself. Like, the man I'm taking care of, you know, he shot himself. And they were like, what? And I'm like, he just shot himself. And so, you know, I had to explain what else I seen at the scene. And his head was drooped down. I seen smoke that was coming from his chest. Again, I didn't see any weapon. The police on the phone asked me if I seen any weapon. I said no, I didn't see any weapon. So I stepped closer because I knew that it was safe for me to step into the circle. I looked at him. I seen that it was smoke coming out of like his chest area. His head was drooping down slowly, and you know, his body didn't have any movement. I was calling his name. He wasn't answering. I was taking his pulse. His pulse was weakening. I was on the phone with the dispatchers. They were saying, you know, somebody's on the way. They're sending out the ambulance to come help me out. And then I looked up, and as soon as I stood up, I seen the gun, and I was like, I confirmed, like, I seen the weapon. And it was like, okay, where is it? And I explained where it was. It wasn't in no harm's way. I wasn't going to touch it. He wasn't able to touch it. So I just let them know, and they said, okay. Now, they directed me to pull him out of his chair and apply pressure to his wound. As I was doing that, and this man was probably 6'7". I kid you not. He was 6'7", over 2-something pounds. And so he was a heavy man. He was a big man. And so it's little old me trying to pull him out of his chair. And as I was yanking him, he fell and he hit the floor. And the ambulance was telling me, do not worry about how hard. And, you know, that was my concern. I'm like, oh, shit, but his head is going to drop. And it was like, don't worry about that. Just worry about applying pressure to the wound. So I pulled him out, and as soon as he dropped, the bullet fell out of his damn body. So I froze, and I let them know, and I was running to the bathroom to go get some towels to hold on to his wound. And so as I was running back, I started applying pressure to his wound, and all I could see is like his blood was all over my hands. And I'm trying not to cry because this was some shit. Like, I've never dealt with nothing like this ever. His blood was all over my hands. The ambulance came, and, you know, they relieved me, and I didn't cry. I was not crying. I was just like, my heart was racing. That's all I could feel. It was like my heart was racing. I just knew I had to go. That's it. And so once they got there and they started, you know, doing what they do, as soon as I like walked from the scene, because they needed me to exit the scene and ask me some questions, the police tried to question me, and I just broke down. Like, I lost it. I was crying. They couldn't understand me, so they was like, I'm just going to give you some time. I needed some time because what I just seen, like, I've never witnessed somebody committed suicide. I've never seen somebody do it. I've heard people say, you know, X, Y, and Z, but like actually seeing somebody take their own life in front of you is some shit that is unimaginable. Like, it's unimaginable. So, y'all, oh my gosh. And I tell this story sometimes to like CNAs that just like, we just be talking and chopping it up, and I don't know why it's so hard for me to explain it to y'all now, but yeah, that's what happened, and that's the story of what happened. But there is way more to the story than just the incident itself. So after, you know, I was talking to the police officers, and they were questioning me. I told them the story. They got everything down that they needed from me, asked all the questions. I gave them my agency information. I called my agency back. They were calling to check on me, making sure I was okay mentally. And they let me know that, they were giving me 2 weeks off, so that, my mind, if I didn't need it, then I didn't need it. But I know that I needed it, and they knew that I needed it as well, to take 2 weeks off, just to breathe, honestly. My agency, they ended up sending out 2 of their office staff to come check on me, was willing to take me and drive me home, because I couldn't do nothing. Like, I wasn't able to write. I was shaking. It took me probably like an hour and a half to actually finish my statement. So after that, they were outside. They were waiting probably 2 hours to try to see me, and the police couldn't release me yet because they weren't done talking to me. And they weren't able to get into the scene because it was still a crime scene. His body was still there, blood, everything's still there. So they weren't able to come in, but they were there and their support was there. So I appreciate the company I was working with 100%, because just their overall care level and concern for me was amazing. When the police were questioning me, they were asking me if he had any mental health issues, and I'm like, not of my knowledge. I read through the care plan, and I'm like, it doesn't say he has depression, it doesn't say he has anything or tried this before inside of the care plan. Called the agency back. The agency didn't know anything of him having any kind of mental issues. While I was there, the police ended up getting in contact with the daughter, explaining everything that happened, and she lives across the state, not a couple of jumps across the state from him. The police ended up asking her were there any more weapons in the house, ended up asking her about his mental health, and what ended up being uncovered was he's been suffering for depression for years, since 2016, since his wife had passed away. And then also uncovered that there was multiple weapons inside of the house, and she instructed their primary caregiver, remember the one I was talking about in the beginning of the story, who came in and let me know that he was able to do for himself for most of the stuff that I was doing for him. She had instructed her to hide the weapons because she knew of, where her dad's head was. Now, my agency didn't know anything. My agency didn't know there were weapons in the house. My agency didn't know he had depression. And I want to say that it's the family's responsibility to reach out and, update the care plan, or reach out and let you know, because usually in the process, you need to know if there's weapons in the house. This is your house, but if we're sending our people out here, we need to know, what's going on, if there is any danger to them, Not that most people, will put us in danger, but let's be real. It's 2023 now, and this happened in 2021. So let's be real. Something gotta happen. So that primary caregiver had hid the gun that she thought that there was no more, and it turns out that they uncovered 3 guns in the house. And it's like, you hid them, but it's his house. He knows where his stuff is. It's his house. So, the effort was there, but I'm not blaming anything on the family. I'm not blaming anything on anybody, because, his mind was there. He was a doctor, so he knew exactly where to shoot. He knew exactly, what would bring him out of this world, if that makes sense. So it's nobody's fault. And it happened, And what I could say for me is that I struggled a lot months after in my field, because I no longer wanted to do in-home healthcare, and I was loving in-home healthcare. I was loving creating my own schedule. I was loving my connection with my residents, being in their house. It's just me and them. I love that. But I then was getting sent out to houses, and it was kind of like PTSD. I swear, I would jump, or if it was a loud sound, I would end up crying. And I'm like, I can't be crying while I'm trying to take care of my residents, because I'm feeling this emotion. I need to take more time off, or I need to go somewhere else. I started working in warehouses. I started working in the mall, and both of them places didn't work for me. I didn't like it, because my field is in healthcare. My heart is in healthcare. I just had to separate myself away from homes, basically just for my safety and my sanity, honestly. So I started working back in facilities, and the facility I was working for, I love that facility as well. But it took me a long time to actually go back to working because of that situation. And I could say it was kind of, I don't want to say eye-opening, but eye-opening, and it was like, you just never know what people's going through. You could think the next person is perfectly fine, and in reality, hell, they're going through some shit that you couldn't even imagine. Now, I could reflect now and say, I feel better. Yeah, I might still tear up a little bit because, not randomly, but I probably will tear up a little bit, let's say, if I'm telling the story, because I went through it, I went through it and I conquered through it, if that makes sense. I overcame my own mind after the situation because mentally that was a lot to digest. Mentally that was a lot to depress. It was a lot across the boards. So, yeah. But everything happens for a reason, and I would say it's a lesson in any kind of situation you go through. I may still be trying to figure out that lesson, but yeah. Yeah. That is the story of when my client committed suicide and I was in the same house, the same room as him. Thank you guys so much for watching my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. I really, really, really appreciate y'all and the support y'all have been giving me for the last year. I am my first year consistently. I'm not going to say consistently because I've been slipping a little bit, but I am my first year officially in YouTube, and the journey's been crazy. I'm so excited for everything that's coming. I'm so excited for everything I got coming for y'all, coming for me. Just blessings on top of blessings, knowledge on top of knowledge. So excited, and I thank y'all. I love all y'all. I promise y'all I do. To the ones that's reaching out to me on Instagram, I love y'all. Please continue to text me. I promise you I'll respond back. And I'm going to tell you, like I told you last video, if I do not respond back, please give me some time because I am working. I am in school. You heard me saying school. Y'all didn't know that. I'm going to tell y'all next video about that one. But thank you guys so much for watching my video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe for more. And I will be with you guys in the next. Peace, love, and light.